So for years I lived down there, and we pushed and pushed and pushed, and it just didn't work. And I knew why. And then
you weren't country.
What is country now?
This is Caswell Cooke, and welcome to the first Caswell Cooke Show in like 10 years. It's just crazy. We used to do this show starting back in 1995, and then we just stopped doing it. And so years later, we called up our friend Billy Gilman and said, would you be the first guest? Would you be the guinea pig for the next Caswell Cooke Show, the Caswell Cooke Show 2.0.
2.0.
That is debuting in January, although this is a preview episode. So Billy, thank you for being here on the Caswell Cooke Show. We've never met before. We're just doing this straight off. So you have this amazing career because you were born in 1988. I read Wikipedia, and right?
There's a song out there in the 80s, be careful what you read.
He was born approximately 1988, and in 2000, when you were like 11, 12 years old, all of a sudden, you had a #1 album, One Voice, and you had this huge single. In fact, I think you had 3 singles off that album. What were the songs on that first record? One Voice?
It was One Voice, Oklahoma, and... gotta rewind. There's a Hero.
And all of a sudden, you are this huge star. You're getting like nominations for Grammys. You sold 2 million records of your first album, and then you went gold with other albums. It's crazy. So how does a person who's like 11 years old get a record? And then get a #1 record, and then be like the superstar? Like, how does that happen?
I will say a little bit is talent, a little bit is timing, a little bit of it's luck, and I'm grateful to have had it at all. Yeah. So funny enough, fast forward a second, that makes sense for the past. It's Back to the Future, again 2.0. When I was doing The Voice, they wanted a lot of B-roll of like me growing up, my young career, so there was a lot of stuff that my parents had to like dig out of their home movies, and we found one of me sitting in the kitchen at 18 months old humming and singing along to the Jeopardy theme. So it was always there.
Right.
So I was always singing in school for show and tell. I'd bring in a little microphone and sing instead of bringing up My Favorite Dinosaur thing, animation thing.
See, that Fisher-Price thing.
Fisher-Price. Yeah. I would have this little karaoke machine, and when the teacher would see me toting it every Friday, she'd be like, oh, God. Look who's talking now.
She was since let
No, she was actually great. Mrs. Pierce, I remember her. So singing was always, so against the well wishes of my parents, or not so well wishes, being in a small town, they just read the rags and it's all negative. So they were frightened at the thought of their child wanting to sing, and I was like adamant, I want to sing. So my grandmother secretly took me to a voice coach in Westerly. Happened to be Westerly's own Angela Bakari, who is still in my career now after 20 some odd years. And at 7, 8 years old, we started, learning pitch and learning little tricks and how to hold long notes. And then she started to teach me how to move on stage and what you do. And then through her contacts with local agents, we were working Massachusetts area, Connecticut, of course, Rhode Island. And that got it caught wind in the attention of Greg Piccolo, some
Grammy
fairly known legend.
Room full of blues.
Yep, a fantastic saxophone player who actually did a solo on my 3rd record with Sony, Dare to Dream. I don't know if he flew in or if he recorded it at home, but whatever.
Wow.
He became a part of my life and my career and sent a demo tape off to this very legendary country band, Asleep at the Wheel. Flew down to Texas after they heard me, and we did a demo. And then they... the ties that bind, they asked me to perform at the Wild Horse Saloon in Nashville. They were doing a show, And looking back, it was kind of like a showcase because I didn't know there were record people in the audience. And then Sony was in the audience, and they became my home for quite a few years. And then I was with them for months and months. I was signed in September, October of '99, and June of 11. I mean June of 2000. June of 11. Yeah, we waited a long time to release that record.
Yeah, it took 10 years.
June of 2000 was when One Voice was released.
And your life changed right away?
It changed even before then, because the groundswell of support from the local area was insane. We want him here, we want him there, and then it started to stretch. And I was flunking class. I was not a very good academic person anyway. Not my thing. Sorry, all my teachers that are watching this, if you are, I love you people, but I didn't like what you were teaching. Disclaimer. I was just tough. It wasn't for me, right?
Well,
Even though I had to do it, it wasn't.
But you're like on the road, you're doing shows, so how do you do school?
So honestly, what the formula was, I'd get up at like 1 or 2 in the afternoon, have a bite to eat.
He still does that.
No. 7 a.m. 4 a.m. this morning. I had media interviews and whatnot. So I get up, have some whatever to eat, take a shower, do my sound check, do whatever I have to sign, or I have to do a radio remote, and then I would do the preliminary meet and greet for the people that won an audience contest or a radio contest or meet and greet VIP, do my concert. And then I would go out every night, still to this day, and sign autographs for as many people that wait around. Sometimes it can be 3 hours. It can go till 2:30 in the morning. I'd get on the bus, put my pajamas on, and do my schoolwork. So it was, why do I need it, right? Now you get what I mean?
Yeah.
You always need your academics, kids. School before a career. What?
Except in his case.
So yeah, it was tough because it was one-on-one and not liking academics. It was tough. You can't go anywhere. You can't go, can I go to the bathroom? And just hang out for a minute, see a friend, roam the halls. You're one-on-one, and it was tough, but we did it, and it was, you know, Angela, I probably gave her all the gray hairs that she had because she, you know, if she wasn't around, I have a younger brother.
I don't see any gray hairs on her now.
It's very expensive dye. Looks good. It's one time only. She put it in at 50, and it's stayed.
That's good. Don't worry, you're gonna need it someday, right?
I already do.
Shh. You're too young.
I'm young. I'm still young. My doctor said so anyway. So because of her, you know, my parents were not going to leave their normality. I have a younger brother, and I said to them, I don't want him leaving school. It's not fair. He didn't choose this. So she literally became my second mother. So she was overseeing everything, and I had a tutor back home that would go through with the curriculum, and they'd be like, he's got to do this. He's getting cheat code to me, Billy. And here I am doing this 25,000 seat place. Got to write your book report. What? You know, it got hairy sometimes on the road, but we survived. But it was really tough. It was way more difficult than people would realize. I grew up with country music, forever will love it, and I am so grateful for the opportunities that it gave me, but I knew my voice, even back then, was doing things on the outside that I know wouldn't be accepted on the inside.
Right.
I would do my shows and do what was asked of me and do this formula, and then I would get on the tour bus or the dressing room and I would belt out these songs that would totally not fit it. So it was like a pure Gemini, you know, two sides, you know what I mean? And so I went to Nashville. I gave in and said, okay, I want to do that. Learn the studio, know how to produce my own stuff, know how to engineer, know how to songwrite, what makes a great songwriter, how long that takes. So for years I lived down there, and we pushed and pushed and pushed, and it just didn't work. And I knew why. You know, and then
you weren't country.
What is country now?
It's a lot of stuff.
But back then, even as short as that is, I mean, that's not a lot of years ago. 8, you know, that is a lot of time in the music business, but not really in the bigger scheme of things. I mean, I was sitting in one label office, and the man said, well, we just don't want our men sounding like Carrie Underwood. And I thought, that's the biggest asset. That's the coolest thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They didn't get it then.
Right.
So I really knew in my head that I have to start to move on. How, I had no idea, because I wasn't in that field and some other field in country. Country was my roots. Those fans are my root. Like, everything was familiar, but it just wasn't working.
Right. Oh, hey. This is Caswell Cooke, as you probably know because you're on my YouTube page or you're watching the show. But the only reason we have a new Caswell Cooke Show is because of the 4 sponsors that are making it possible, making this pilot episode, this first episode in a decade, possible. 4 wonderful sponsors. You know, I don't think it's often that a person who's doing a TV show actually knows the people who are sponsoring personally. And one of the things that's making the Caswell Cooke Show so awesome is that the 4 sponsors that are making this happen are all people that I use for whatever their services are. So Thorp and Trainer Insurance has been around since 1910. I've known Howie Thorp since I was a kid growing up at church, and we are just part of the same community, and Thorp and Trainer is a fabric of our community, and I get my insurance through Thorp and Trainer. D&V Mechanical, they are awesome. They do ducted and ductless air conditioning, heating, commercial appliance repair, things like that. And I always call Frank anytime something goes wrong at my restaurant. He comes down and he fixes it. And so, like, just, he's awesome, D&V Mechanical. The other person that's sponsoring is Dunn's Corner Chiropractic. I've been going to Dr. Campbell since, well, 1999, so for 20 years I've gone to him, and whenever I've had an issue, or even when I don't have an issue, I get checked up by him. I swear by chiropractic care, and the best chiropractor around is Dr. Campbell, and he's right in Dunn's Corners across the street from Walmart. 322-8822 is his phone number, and I recommend Dr. Campbell highly. He's worked on me, my wife, my children, and he's done a great job. And the last one is Seaside Pharmacy, Bill Quirk. So here's a guy that went against the odds and opened up an independent small business drugstore in Westerly, a pharmacy in Westerly. I'm old-fashioned by saying drugstore, but you know what I mean. And Seaside Pharmacy is located right near Applebee's. It's up in Dunn's Corners. And you just get personal service. You walk in there and they know your name. They know what you're coming there for. They don't have to ask you, all these questions about who you are because they know you. It's kind of like the Cheers of pharmacies. But Bill's really cool, and he makes things happen, and he's a big community supporter. So those are the 4 sponsors that honestly are responsible for making the Caswell Cooke Show fly again in 2020.
So in that fight and in that really dark time, because I really had no idea, The Voice called, and Angela again called me on the phone and said, "So The Voice show called." No, click. She knew. Okay, I'm gonna back away from this. Another couple months went by. Another season of The Voice called. I don't want to do it. Click. Okay, we'll let it go. They called 4 times. And the 5th time, or whatever, 4th or 5th time, she says, The Voice called. And I went silent. She goes, "Ooh, maybe a light went off." And it did, because I thought to myself, I've had wonderful opportunities, big opportunities that I went on, and they go away. And then you regret. That's a regret, But this one kept coming back. So I said, no opportunity this massive has ever kept coming back, no matter if I like it or not. I said, what a great opportunity to be thrusted, if it were to happen, into this category where I can just sing. It's the best formula for me to just stand there and sing. I don't have to pretend what is, what was, what is going to be. I can just do my thing. So I had many meetings with past managers and record label executives. So I wanted everyone's feedback before I jumped in, because I didn't know if they were going to turn around and make a joke. You just don't know.
Yeah, right.
So all these thoughts were going in my head, and I said, well, if I'm going to do this show, I have to really just get out there and wail and do me. Because if I'm trying to be something, America will sniff that out immediately. America's very smart like that. And so luckily it worked. And I stepped out on that stage scared to death, because finally, for the first time, I was at the helm of the ship.
What's it like in that room? How big is the audience? The lights are on you. Is there a big gulf between you and where everybody's sitting? How does it feel when you walk out in that place?
It's tiny. I'm trying to think of a example. I don't know. What theater?
We all see it through the
vets.
No, it's way smaller than the vets.
See?
Oh yeah, there was only 480 seats.
Oh,
really?
It just looks so big.
Because it's tall.
Yeah.
It's very tall, so it looks like the coaches are maybe from here to the piano. So maybe to the corner of the wall away, 40 feet, 50 feet. But it's big. Like you're high up and they're a little low, so it's like mysteries.
And there's a band.
There's a band behind us,
which you got to practice with, I hope.
Yeah, I think we practiced for 2 weeks before the show, so like maybe 4 times. Because at that point, there's hundreds of contestants. You got to wait your turn, and I'm not good at that.
You're like, man, I've already had a record.
Which was tough because everyone was like, "Why is he here? Get him off the show."
Because they thought you were a professional.
So not only did I have to fight for America, but I had to fight in the background too. It was crazy.
What did you feel like when you got done with the first song in front of the audience with the judges? What was that like? Was it vindication? What was it for you?
Oh yeah, it was total vindication. But I knew that I have my work set for me now, because there's gonna be people that want to see me succeed, and there's gonna be people that want to see me fail, and it's my job to convince the people that want to see me fail that.
Well, no one in your home state wanted to see you.
No, but there's a way, and I know I had to convince people that I'm just as worthy as the guy that's bussing tables.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So how do you pick? Who picks the songs? You? I mean, My Way. You did. I mean, how do you arrive at the songs you're going to sing those nights?
So after you do the audition, the coach runs to you and your family, and they talk to you for a minute, and welcome to the team, welcome to the Voice family, blah 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 blah. And Adam says, "We have our work to do." I went, "Yep." Sure. So I kept my mouth shut, and we met behind closed doors, and I said, "I know what I need to do. Will you let me do what I need to do?" And he sat back and he went, "Sure." The only song I did not choose myself was "Man in the Mirror." Almost killed me. And My Way.
That was a duet, right?
That was a duet. And I knew it was Adam teaching a lesson. Because I'm singing these beautiful ballads, and here I'm struck with such a rhythmic, you have to be in the pocket kind of thing. And he teams me up with someone that's so in the pocket. And I'm like, oh, this is like oil and water. Like, it's like such night and day. And it stuck out. And I was like the low part. Like, I was like the one that's dragging. So, and everyone had like, so I don't know if this was, I doubt it was all on purpose directed towards me, because I'm not the only person on his team. But it just felt so odd, because the only 2 people out of like 10 artists on his team, they were all R&B rockish. Okay, there was only like 2 people on our team that stuck out: me, Pretty Boy Pop, and another guy.
You heard it first here on the Caswell Cooke Show. Pretty Boy Pop. It's a new genre.
Well, I mean, it's being honest. Me singing these La 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 when we were young.
Yeah.
And then a guy was singing Michael Bublé. We were the only 2. And who does he pick for? What does he pick for me? A rock R&B song. And who's my advisor? Sammy Hagar. That works. I'm like, this guy's not gonna get me. This is like being back at Nashville with that record producer, that record guy. And it was pointed out numerous times. I mean, I don't know if it's on YouTube. I don't know what's on TV or Hulu or whatever you can watch back when. I don't even know if they're there anymore. But you can watch the judging. It was tough. And I just kept going, oh, I'm in trouble. I'm done. It's so blatantly obvious that I'm not gonna succeed in this. I was literally meltdown case, because I'm like, all right, I didn't think they turned for the audition. I can't. But when you physically can't get something, no matter how hard you try, everyone has their limitations. That's just the way it is, especially musically. If you can't do something, you can only go so far. Otherwise, a rap guy could be opera. No, he has his limitations.
Right.
But he has a strength that I don't have. So I stayed up the night before the actual taping. I was up till 4:30 in the morning, listening to and I said to Adam and the musical director, Paul, I said, just give me nothing but the piano and all the congas, drums, all the drum. I just want the drum. I just want the drum. So it was just in my head. And I got up on the stage and I threw my hands up in the air and I went, okay, here we go. And that was the biggest feat for me in that whole show. That was the toughest, most grueling part of the show, was the battle round.
Mm-hmm. And then what about the song that Adam wrote that you sang?
Actually, pardon me, I don't know if he wrote it. but it was supposed to be
It
on
was
his.
supposed to be a Maroon 5 song?
So we didn't have a song. He couldn't find one. I gave him a couple that I had written, and he liked them, but he wanted something different, completely different. So everyone else had their song, and I had no song. 2 days before the live finale, I had no song. And, okay. So he calls me at 1 o'clock in the morning. He goes, I've got a song. I want to give it to you. The band just passed on it. It was going to go on this last record, but here. And obviously it was called Because of Me. And I love it. And I still do it in my show to this day.
Speaking of shows to this day, how many shows you do in a year? I mean, are you like always out, or are you?
It varies. Last year was very busy. 2017 I did, I think, 90 shows. This year, the middle to end of last year was not that busy. I did quite a few Christmas dates because I'm not the kind of artist that can write and record during that process. My mind doesn't go there. Like the Hunter Hayes and the Shawn Mendezes of the world, like, hats off to them to be able to bounce it like that. If I'm writing, it's literally a 20-hour day. Well, I can't go on stage. I'm fried. Mentally, singing, So I have to shut it off. So I will take time to go to, like, I record in LA in Burbank. And I'll be there for months recording, creating, because all the songs will start from the ground up. The sounds. I mean, to get, like, the Soldier song. There's, like, 4 sounds in there. Like there's a little divot sound. It took 4 hours just to get that one sound the way I wanted it. So it's like such a long, drawn out thing that I can't sing and do concerts at the same time. I'm just not there. So I've been pulling back on the shows. Next year, they've already got February and March booked. There's a possible Asia tour. There's, I think, a couple of Australia dates. So I think next year will be pretty.
When people go
ramped up.
see you in concert, what are they going to hear?
They hear a journey. They actually, I recently did a show, and I always make sure to meet and greet, always. And if the theater allows it or whatever. And this one person said, I've seen 13 of your shows, and I said, and I just newly formed this new show. I've only done it like 10 times. This new show is brand new, and this girl said, you let us in this time. And I went, what do you mean? She goes, I felt like I was a part of the journey now rather than being sung to. And I went, oh, okay. So I guess it's an open window to really my soul and where I want to go and what I want to do, and I'm happy that it's perceived that way. So it's all the music. I do a lot of stuff that I did on The Voice. Of course, I do my new songs. I will always do One Voice in Oklahoma and the songs that made me, because there are many millions of people that remember them. And they're timeless. I'm lucky to have songs like that. What if I had I Want Candy? I wouldn't do that at 50 years old. You know what I mean? But luckily I have songs that I can sing at 40 years old and 50 years old, and they still stand up, and it doesn't sound odd.
Right.
Which is cool.
Well, McCartney said, when he was a young guy, he said, probably we'll write songs for a few more years, but no one's going to want to hear us singing From Me to You when we're 40. Well,
all right,
so,
that's true.
So don't, he's and what was it?
That's
Jerry
funny.
Seinfeld that roasted him in front of Obama, and he said, she was just 17, you know what I mean? No, I don't. Because now he's like almost 80. So,
Excuse me?
So, these people, I mean, and you're so young to be able to say, yeah, well, my first hit was 20 years ago. I mean, what are you, 30?
Yeah, 30. 31. Yeah.
31. So, like, you're lucky. And then when you're like 80, you'll be able to say 70 years ago my first hit was.
I hope so. I hope I'm around that long.
How do you like take care of the voice now then? Your voice, not the voice, your voice. It's
a process. I had just gotten hit up to possibly do something that I don't know where my head is at to do it, but it would be a role on Broadway, and I'm a firm believer that to truly deliver a song, to me, it's never the same way twice. When I'm in the moment and there's an audience, now they could be a bored audience, they could be an into it audience, they could be an old audience, a young audience. I'm going to react differently. And you get written up by directors, producers, choreographers if you don't do it the same way, no matter what you feel, and it's the same way every single night, 8 shows a week. I don't know if I could do that, But I treat my voice, even when I'm not performing. Well, I'm always performing either benefits or concerts or recording. Like it's always used, but I treat it like I'm going out to perform a 2-hour show every day. Every day I do an hour and 45 minutes of warm-ups. I swim for my diaphragm. I work out. I do a lot of Peloton biking exercises for the diaphragm. And I do certain sprays and certain teas. Slippery Elm is my best friend. I try not to drink vodka martinis, but they are my best friend.
Couple packs of Marlboros.
Oh yeah, I did that too in Nashville. Figuring I'm gonna. Everyone doesn't like this child star. I'm gonna start. And I smoked Marlboro Reds for about 6 months, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I don't like this. What am I doing this for?
Yeah. You thought that would make.
Plus, I get dizzy, and I'm like, what is this?
You sound like Keith Richards if you keep that up. Now there's
talk about someone that does never. After the whole, after the apocalypse,
there'll be Cher,
Keith Richards, and cockroaches.
Yeah.
I guess I'm doing an old joke.
No, it's true. Maybe I've just seen his show so many times.
Hey, he's iconic.
Well, hey, thank you for talking to us on our first Caswell Cooke Show in all these years. It's
What's
really
the trick questions, though? So before we began this, he was saying about trick questions. What's there a trick? You said trick question, or is it a joke? Oh, now I put him on his own show, and I put him on the spot.
This is the Billy Gilman show. And
so how long have you been doing this?
Well, since 1995, kid.
Oh, really?
You were only 7.
That's right.
I first came on the air in 95, and my first interview was this guy, Peter Wolf from the Jay Giles Band.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And he didn't know who I was. Obviously, I was this kid. And I said, well, I'm here to interview you. And he's like, I don't know. And so then I picked up all our equipment and started walking away. And he's like, whoa, wait a minute. So we did this interview, and he said, he goes, hey, Kaz. He had the gravelly voice. With all the trouble in the world today, why doesn't it pay to write to Washington? And I'm like, I don't know. Because he's dead. And he smacked me and walked away.
Oh,
but it was great, man. Because I got smacked by the Jay Giles Band. So it was good. So there. So anyway, but I actually don't have a trick question. And then Conan O'Brien was one of our guests soon after that, and I knocked on his door because his mother lives in town.
So I heard, yeah, I've heard that.
And he answered the door, and I said, I do this show. He goes, yeah, my mom watches it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I'm like, well, can we have you come on the show? And he's like, sure. So we did that, and then after that, it just kind of, then once you have like a few guests,
that's it.
And people are like, oh, I'll do it. And then later on, I started booking all these people to perform, so then they kind of knew. So then I was like, well, I should interview these people that play. And by the way, I want to thank Billy because 2 years ago, was it? I don't know when it was, but we had the legendary John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band.
Oh, yeah.
Ready to play on the dark side, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he got sick like 2 days before, and he called, and he's like, he really sounded bad. He goes, guys, I can't sing.
Oh, that's what was wrong. I always wondered. Always had wondered what happened.
His doctor said, "You sing, you're not singing again, so you can't sing."
I've been there.
So then I don't know how it happened, but you talked to Angela. Angela sent me a Facebook.
Yeah, we were in Oregon.
Message. Yeah. And this guy flew back and saved the day and brought a huge crowd down to Musqueamish.
That crowd was fun. Like certain crowds, I did like 6 before that. I can't remember them, but. I hope that doesn't go naturally. I remember you. I love you. If you can't please everybody.
So you got to please yourself.
Yeah.
See, now I found a song that's from before his time. Garden Party.
Oh, there you go.
You should do that one.
I gotta listen to it.
Yeah.
But anyway, that crowd that night, it was foggy. It was like kind of he would have been really all messed up if he sang in that weather. It was such a great, lively crowd. Angela came on stage. We did a duet. That crowd was amazing. That was a fun crowd. So thank you.
The most amazing thing about it was that he actually did Cafferty's whole set, start to finish. So he was doing Dark Side, Tender Years. I mean, he was Cafferty. I'm joking. He really didn't. He actually sang his own songs.
And anyone that's watching can attest that I did my own song.
We may even have some footage of that.
I Want Candy.
I want candy.
They did one song. One song pushed.
Bow Wow Wow. That's who sang that, right?
Yippee-oh, yippee-ay?
No, I Want Candy.
Oh, I don't know.
That was the trick question. Who sang I Want Candy?
Someone in my younger years. You know who it was?
Oh, that she redid it.
I think it was a guy.
No, was that?
It was in my 2000 era that someone did it.
It was in the 2000 era. Yeah.
I want to say Mandy Moore.
Yeah, it was one of those.
Hey, Google.
Yeah, one of those people. Yeah, one of those people. Do you ever hear yourself on like Sirius or when you're listening to a Decade channel? Do you come on?
Thank God, no.
Oh, good.
And I just was on. So I've been guests every time that I'm home for any kind of like week or whatever. If the radio station 92 Pro FM gets wind of it, they'll say, "Do you want a guest host?" Because they love it and they get a lot of great feedback on it. And I'm honored that people like listening to me on the radio like that. And it's a fun dynamic and a different dimension to my career. And I'm just like, sure. And so you sit there between songs, you're waiting, to go back on the air. So I'm just on MSN, and it was something about, I don't know what it said. It was a headline of something. And my name scrolled through. And for once, they didn't use former child star. They just used Billy Gilman, and I went, yes! So that was even nice, because it wasn't categorizing it in a generation form.
Right.
So, but no, I don't hear myself. I've heard people tweet me and go, "I just heard you on such and such," but I don't ever catch it.
That's the
which
question.
is totally fine.
That's the question I want to ask you. So you have like, where are you on social media? Obviously, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I just signed on to TikTok. Someone advised me of my PR team to do TikTok. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing.
My 9-year-old daughter is doing.
What do you do?
I have no idea, but she knows. She can consult.
Okay. Well, she
wanted
have her people call
she wanted to meet you, but she's singing at Chorus of Westerly practice right now.
Well, that's better than meeting me.
Right.
Keep singing.
So yeah.
What else?
So TikTok, yeah.
There's another one I just signed on to, and it's been like crazy. It's like a full-time job on its own.
So that's my question. You do your own social media.
I have people that do it for me, especially if I'm in a long flight, like to here in LA, and it's like 5 hours flight, and something needs to happen, which has been the case. And I have 2 girls in New York on a firm that help me out and have all that. So most of the time it's me, sometimes it's them. Cameo, that's the one. That one is fun. Like people will like randomly message you, and you get cleared. It's a whole company that does it on behalf of artists, so it's not some wacko. But what I'm sure there maybe can be. I don't know.
Wackos, welcome to. Just no stalking.
That's a whole nother show. I could fill up an hour just on that.
Can you just give us, before we go, because now this is the Caswell Cooke Show extended hour, can you just give us one, like, wacko story? Like, just like, is any give me something.
There are so many.
Give me something.
There was a guy that would dress in drag, like he would have a blonde wig, a red wig, a brown wig, so he wouldn't be caught, and he would go to all the different shows. And there was another guy who said, now mind you, I'm 15, my father went crazy. He was a Marine. No, my father sold oil with my grandparents in Woodmansee oil. So, no. He was a Marine. He went crazy. I'm trying to flee my town and my life with this man, and we're going to buy a house together in Colorado, and called our hotel room in Las Vegas and said, "This is Billy Gilman's manager," and Angela goes, "Oh yeah, then who the hell am I?" Right? Nuts. Restraining orders, like, it goes on and on.
Well, there's like because now that our buddy Taylor Swift lives here in Westerly, sometimes.
Yep.
A friend of mine was doing security, and this guy said he was her husband.
Yeah, it's just.
And he was there to, pick her up for dinner.
It's scary, because you just. So, but the thing is, like, what if these people have been around me and we didn't know it? Like, until they started to strike. That's what thinking back on it, I didn't know then. But looking back, I'm like, what if that person was in the diner that the bus stopped at and was around us or followed it? Because you don't have the technology you have now.
Right now, you do. And then when you go to venues, you have security. And
we always had security, but, when you have 10,000 people, it's hard. Like, when you're in these arenas, no matter how good the security is, someone's getting away with something. Look at the Manchester arena with Ariana Grande. You know there's security there, and the guy still got through.
I know.
You just never know.
I know, stuff happens.
Anyway, it's an interesting life, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
And the last question then is, so how much, you were talking about like doing Broadway and you have to give the same performance even if it's a lackluster audience, but how much does it inspire you when you walk out and you hear that scream?
Oh, that's the only reason I'm still alive, I probably would say. I'll go to the depths of that. Not doing my job, but probably alive. Because when it's all you know, and it's that you have given... When someone stalls me, be it a record head or this person going, I just don't know. When someone stalls this given gift, it's a factor of rage that I can't begin to understand. You're you're dealing with something higher than myself. When you're saying no to what God gave me, that's a whole. You're setting the rhythm off, and when I hear that audience, it just fuels me. And if I didn't have that, we'd have problems. So that is one of the major things in life that I will always be grateful for and strive to give the best I can, because that's in the end that's all the artist has. Mm-hmm. You have your music and your words and your thoughts, and then you have your audience. That's it. Everything else is expendable.
Well, you have an amazing voice. We were like all watching you, as was America. We were just like, how the hell do you sound that great? Like, it's just when
and if anyone wants to know, just call Angela.
Booking now.
Yep, just ask. She was the one. We did. I can just keep going. We were doing a duet with Charlotte Church, who was an opera singer.
I'm just gonna go to the restroom. I'll be back.
Yeah.
I'm just joking. You take it, Billy.
Yeah.
No.
So welcome to the Caswell Cooke Show. I'm Caswell, and today we're with Angela Beccari, speaking on her legendary career.
He could do this. See, now if the music fails him, he could be a talk show. But you were tell me this last story, because I like it.
Right. So you don't even know it yet.
I want to see if you'd
How do you know it?
I want to see if you'd pick up on that.
I love this story. I just said I was with.
No, you mentioned the name.
Charlotte Church, and we're in London. And she was taught by the book with this teacher. And she's going in and she's telling her to do this, and I'm like, that is so wrong. Like, she's going, you gotta say B. Well, if I want to say B, I'm gonna say B, right? So it's just certain placements of your tones. And like I said, Angela had such a long career herself that she knew what happens if you have a fever, if you're hoarse, how to sing above it to don't damage it. And it's just years of experience. And those things just can't be taught by a book. So that creates longevity and being healthy. You know what I mean? You can't do crazy things. Which, as you know, I'm still learning not to do crazy things. You wake up and you're hoarse. Well, you shouldn't have had those 6 vodkas, Billy.
It's true.
We all have our. I could be Kathy Lee and Hoda's great pal.
Oh.
They drink wine at 11 a.m. That's great.
Just be careful when you need a drink to stabilize in the morning.
That's right.
Then you know.
I know. I'm like, how can they do this at 11 a.m.?
Because it's a continuation. Yeah.
So funny. But yeah, you just got to maintain a healthy lifestyle, and it comes out if you treat it well.
Now, since we have this huge audience that's going to watch us,
yeah.
Well, especially once you share the show on your Facebook page, but
hopefully, you never know.
You never know. It could be good. He's got to see the edited version after. But if there's one person out there that you could work with, that whoever it is, like a superstar you've never met, or whatever, who would you like to work with?
She can answer.
Besides Angela.
No, that's not. It would be 2 people. I'm trying to think of male and female to give it A and B. Definitely female would be Streisand. That's the given. And B, for male, I honestly think it would be Justin Timberlake. I think him and I could create some really neat things.
Wow, JT, if you're listening to that, here's another man of the woods.
Is he moving to Rhode Island?
No, unfortunately, but it's like
those 2 people I would kill that would be a moment.
I could picture you redoing Guilty with Barbra Streisand.
Right?
You could do Barry's part, yeah.
He's a BG. How do you like that? It's kismet.
Yeah, Barry Gibb, he's part of the BG Army, right?
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, see you next time.